Well, man, this is a fine Saturday. It's 12 p.m., high noon. And my friends, boys and girls, we are on a very busy schedule. We have 5 interviews in one day. Yes, I'm a little loopy, but look what we have here. Starting us off today, there was a cancellation. Things happen. And who steps in? But one Mr. Dominick Paretti. I cannot thank you enough. This is Sir in the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Dominick Paretti. Thank you, sir, for coming on.
Hey, what's up, brother? It's good to be here. I was actually going to check your show out, and then I saw there was a cancellation, and I haven't talked to the wrestling community in New England for a long, long time, so I thought I'd start with you, my brother.
When I seen your name pop up first, I go, I haven't talked to this cat in forever. But when we did talk at the shows, you were so cool, and you gave your time, and your character was awesome. We're going to dive into all of that. There's so much to talk about. But I'd like to start off, and I know we did talk a little bit off of camera, but what I kind of like to start off, because of the times we're in, I just, I know we're all going through some stuff with this whole virus stuff going on. I'm just hoping that, everything is good, things work out, things turn around for the better and all of that good stuff. We're all going through some crazy shit. So I'm so glad to see you can coming on here and talking to us, the fans, because this isn't my show, my friend. This is the fan show.
Well, that's right. I've always been, a guy who really cared a lot about the fans in New England, and I know a lot of the fans are also people who've performed, and so it's all a brotherhood, and it's all a fandom, and I'm a Don Kincaid fan, So I thank you for asking about me. Yeah, we've been going through some crazy times. I have been lucky up to recently, and now my wife has come down with COVID, so we're scrambling, and we're trying to keep her healthy. She's an asthma patient, a heart patient, so it can be scary, but that's why you might hear a bell go off. That means the boss needs to be taken care of, but
hey, that's okay.
I could usually take care of her in a second, but it's rough. It's been rough for everybody. Like I said, there's a lot of people have had a lot more misfortune. I'm so far negative, but I'm gonna keep getting retested because, my regular daily job is a delivery guy, and I gotta stay safe. So, but hey, I know you had to deal with that in your family. We all had that, so it happens. Everybody now.
It is. It's a crazy time, man. It is a crazy time. All we can do is try to push through and keep our spirits up somehow, and kick out at 2, as they say. You got to kick out at 2.
Yeah, take the Cena approach, right? Kick out at 2. Right? but I'll tell you this. I think probably a lot of people are gonna echo this. Is that, damn, it would really be nice to have performance, the ability to perform and see performances. That would really be the kind of shot in the arm we really need right now, and unfortunately, it just can't happen. At least not like it used to. So, that's something that maybe 2021, I don't think I'll be able to resist making, performance appearances. As you know, I did a lot of broadcasts in the last few years, but it wasn't that long ago that I was throwing hammers in the ring. So, when all this is said and done, I think everybody's going to feel like they need to get a little of that juice again.
We've spoken about that on this show. Man, the boys and girls just want out right now. They want to get in that damn ring. And there has been some activity through the summer because they were doing the outdoor shows. Right. That's kind of turned down. We were thinking that maybe some indoor shows were about to occur, but then the uptick happened and shit is just kind of closed right down all over again. So there's still a lot of men and women that haven't been able to get back in that ring that are just fired up and ready. I feel that so much.
That's truth. And as a commentator, as I was right to the end there with the MAW, even during the time I was commissioner, I was still doing commentating. But there's so much talent, not just there, but all over New England. The Chop Shop crew, which I'm familiar with, you're familiar with the GCW guys. So much talent, unfortunately, just had the rug pulled out from under them. That's the thing I've enjoyed over the last few years is, I had my days. I love watching these kids, and I love being able to talk about the things that make people good performers, good wrestlers, good combat artists. And that, I miss that. But wow, I feel real bad when I think about some of these local kids that can't work right now.
And something else we've spoken about on this show is some of them, this is their pure livelihood right now.
Hell yeah.
This is what they've put everything into. So the pro wrestling tees, if they have one, and whatever they have out there, and their appearances and such, the merch is the only thing that they're bringing in. It's not like they have these shoot jobs, if you will.
Right.
That's their livelihood.
Yeah, some of them invest a lot of money into their characters,
Yes.
but invest a lot of money into their merchandise. I don't know how you feel about name dropping but a guy that I always want to drop because I think he's one of the hardest working and great minds that's been around a while. It just needs that one break, and that's Tony Clash. That man invests so much bloody money, and that man invests so much bloody money into his work that it sucks. He can't make it like he should be. You know what I mean? Actually, he's one of the last people from our community I got to see in a public forum because we were at the same movie premiere in New Hampshire. Literally, I want to say the week before everything really hit the fan.
You can name drop whoever you like because now I'm from Connecticut. You're from the Rhode Island area. That is correct, right?
Right. I'm a Massachusetts boy as far as my residency. So I know a lot of those cats. I actually live really close to Rich's company. I've never actually worked with them or seen them, but I know they're around here. But yeah, in my wrestling history, I'm all Rhode Island pretty much. I'm a Chop Shop guy. I'm an SPW guy. So yeah.
You can name drop all you want because what happens.
Well, usually when I do it's because I love somebody and I want them to get one out there.
Well, that gives us the fans someone else to look up if we're not familiar with said talent, and that's what I like to do on this show, my friend.
And I might be wrong. My memory is not that great anymore, But I'll tell you, I think Tony Clash is the reason you and I met, if I remember right, because I think he brought you guys out to the Chop Shop one day. I think that's how we met.
Yes, because and that's kind of where I wanted to really initially start, but that's okay because on this show I just fly off the seam of my ass. So just roll with the punches.
That's how I did the commentary for the last 2 years. Everything's improv. If you ever check out one of the MEW shows I did, everything is straight live improv.
Wow, amazing! Fun times at the MAW shows.
Oh yeah.
But that's really where I initially wanted to started with because that's where I first met you, and that's pretty much the only place that I have seen you perform was at the Chop Shop, and it was for MAW Mass Anarchy Wrestling. They've kind of it switched over. Another company has kind of taken its place, if you will, and now the Chop Shop as a building. It is kind of dissipated. The boys and girls are looking for somewhere else to go to. Will it be under the same umbrella, all of those companies and the promotions? We're not sure yet. We'll see where that goes. Because I thought it was cool that you could see multiple promotions under one umbrella. I thought it was pretty cool,
Oh, absolutely. That was an important thing because not only did you had a lot of talent sharing, but you also had if a guy came from RWA and he wrestled for MAW and I had to call him on broadcast, I knew him, and that helped. That helped a lot for everybody. They got better broadcasts. We got better work. It's great. And I don't know. Nobody knows anything now, but I'll tell you, if it's humanly possible, the minds like Jerry Charlatan and T Phoenix and those minds that put that stuff together, and Kevin Real. I mean, those guys. I can't imagine them not being able to recreate something like that because they're great minds in wrestling. So. I would, and they work so well together as a crew. I would think to see something like that again in the future.
Yeah, I as a fan, I think that's very cool idea to have that.
To me, it's the most important thing in Rhode Island wrestling. The Chop Shop has been.
Yeah, because and as I've spoken to many of the talents from the Chop Shop and the Rhode Island area, it was more. They always say the brothers and sisters and family and stuff like that. But the more and more I talk to the talent, it truly was something behind the curtain, more of a family setting. In all honesty, It was a true setting in that, from what I'm to gather from these interviews.
You had people from a lot of backgrounds, a lot of theater people, a lot of film people, a lot of straight wrestling people. I have a long background in all that stuff. So it really felt like that to me. It felt like a drama club, whatever you want to call it, but it was a very tight knit, low stress, low pressure type of family situation. You know, probably the most unclicky type of multiple locker room I've ever seen. You know, it was a click. It was one click.
And when I met you, you were under the name Commissioner Dom Paretti, if I'm not mistaken. That's
right.
Correct, right?
That's right.
You didn't have the Abe Lincoln at that time.
Did not. No, I did
You were
not.
wearing some glasses, some eyeglasses.
Yep.
And go ahead.
Everything had a purpose, yeah.
And you played a very cool character. You came out, you did your thing. And when the very first time that I went, I want to say it was with my dad or it was with Fogman. I forget which one.
I might have been both. You were with a couple folks, and definitely your dad was there.
I started grasping onto the characters that was within MAW because some of the faces I already knew, so they were familiar faces, and I kind of knew what their characters were already bringing to the table. But then I saw some other faces that I didn't know because you were mixing them up a bit at MAW.
Right. Yeah, right.
And man, I tell you, those were some fun times, and you guys always gave me a lot of respect over there, and I had so many fun times over there. But the characters is kind of what I'm driving at. I meet Dominick Paretti. There's guys like Dick Lane, insane Dick Lane, might I add. You had your Isana, you had, these all sorts of larger than life characters. And I can go on
King Leon Day.
Yes.
King Leon Day.
Yes.
Tony F and Clash. I mean, that was a crew. Izzy Starr, the one and only. And they had that great team, that Reefer Madness, him with Dick Lane. I mean, I think one of the best things about not just I know more about the MAW situation, but I felt like all the companies down there, they were really open to guys exploring their character. And I got one more name to drop, and we don't see from him much, but I have to give him a lot of credit because I know you like the Paretti character. And years ago, J.P. Hansen, I talked about wanting to do, a straightforward Pollyanna character. I'd always done this little man folk centric type of animalistic tough guy character, and I said, I want to do something a little more fun, a little goofier. And he told me I looked like Crash Ali. And he said I should do something Pollyanna. So we went with the Polo Power. I literally wore a polo and khakis, maybe a little bit of a Cena spoof. And I used the simplest moves possible, and I had fun. And I almost pretended like I didn't understand. The character didn't, at the vision of the character, did not understand why. Here's a cat. Why anybody wanted to fight him? Like why wrestling had to be so violent, and aggressive, and he always just wanted to shake everybody's hand and be competitive, and talked about sportsmanship, and then things started happening like sportsmanship chants and stuff like that, and it really got off on its own. I got out of it for a while. I had wrestled. I really started with the tough guy stuff way back 2000s, Primal Conflict Wrestling, if you even can remember that. They called me the Mongoose back then.
Okay.
But even after I worked on that character with Jim for a while, I didn't really do much with it. And then Zaderstone, Jerry called me up and said, hey, we'd like to see that character here at MAW. So in reality, the only place that I ever really did that character was MAW. And yes, and it evolved into, things would happen to him. He'd have to get a little tougher. Things would happen to him. He'd have to get a little tougher. And then the final thing, I don't know if you're around for this run, because you never really saw me active in the ring. You saw me doing commissioner stuff, broadcasting.
Yes.
But the last thing we did was Jerry, GC Knight, we feuded.
Oh.
And it was a Flair rule type of feud. Because I was coming to the end, and I knew I had a title run going. And I said, listen, I want to, when I drop the belt, I'm going to be done. So he decided to do a Flair rule thing where, I was able to have a winning streak, which a guy my size and my build and my style was never going to have a winning streak in wrestling. That's something I always understood. But I had a winning streak towards the end of my career to allow me to build up the Flair gimmick. And my final match was in the XWA Arena in the steel cage against GC Knight. And that was like the official Dom Paretti match. But after that, as a broadcaster, I started developing almost, I think I have to say I homage Taz as much as I can when I do my commentary. And I think I had that vibe, I was able to have that vibe. And the very last thing I did in wrestling before all this stuff happened was I attempted at the heel turn and I beat up Scotty Box as the ring announcer. And we never went anywhere else with that. It, never really evolved from that. But if I ever do come back, my intention is I did some work with AWL, but my intention to come back is like a heel type, commentator or a heel type, executive, whatever works.
Okay.
But honestly, I might be in the best shape of my life right now, not wrestling for a while. I dropped 20 pounds. So I actually am almost in ring shape. If time comes again, I might be in better shape than most people remember me.
So I've known you as the commish of MAW.
Yep.
You've just described and given us so much to soak in right there, all in one little bit. How long have you been a wrestler previous to being the commish?
All right, let's figure this out. So in 2000, I have an interesting story. So in 2000, I met Jose Perez as a fan of PCW, Primal Conflict.
Okay.
And I had a lot of martial arts experiences, submission, grappling, stuff like that, and I was really into it. And I honestly did have a hard time at first understanding the concepts of, combat art, combat performance, and combat. But I was literally there for the last year of Primal Conflict. So all I really did, but it was probably the best thing I could have did. I did all the rookie stuff. I didn't really wrestle. I absorbed. I got thrown in here and there when I was needed. I would, lay down for somebody if needed. I would learn, help the ring, do all that stuff, and kind of paid my dues before I really was ever even properly trained.
Okay.
I made the mistake a lot of guys make, and I started getting involved in bigger type match situations than I should have when I was younger, and it frustrated me. And I spent a few years out, and then one day on a whim, I was in my 30s at this point. I walked into SPW, and I just said, "Hey, I want to learn right. I want to learn. I understand he uses a traditional Kowalski method. I wanted to learn that right." And I spent 3 years with him, and developed a character that he developed for me called Oliver Sutton, which is basically a British butler, a British Virgil. My cat wants to eat the phone. Come on, Grayson. I call him Grayson because he's a dick. So I can say, "Stop being a dick, Grayson," which is what he's doing right now. No, come here, you. Come here, son. You're on TV now. All right, so look at you. Yeah, go. So I love that character. I did a lot of managing, a couple matches here and there, but it was, again, expansion of the performance and learning to act. And right. I think Chris Blackheart over there, my name does at least bring respect when it comes to someone who knows how to pitch a promo and stuff like that. But that helped me so much as far as, that character, I never really used it much after that, but wow, did that really teach me how much you can expand on what you do in the ring with what you're doing as your character. But that really, so after that, during that time is when I got close with a lot of chop shop people. So from that point on, I was a chop shop guy.
Okay.
And I was a chop shop guy as the Mongoose for a while. I was but pre-chop shop, I actually, there's a match. I think I used to wrestle at Tickers with them sometimes. And, but I'd say the last 5, 6, 7 years, I've been Polo Power, and that's probably everyone knows me, as that probably around here. But,
so
time, really.
Well, what do you, I've been told that, yes, sir. What do you find more comfortable, playing the face character or the heel character?
Well, you're talking to an actor about comfortable. If I'm being completely honest, it's easier to play a face character because you can just kind of say the obvious things that you need to say in the obvious tone you need to say it in. So if I'm going to say comfortability wise, I'm actually more comfortable playing a heel character because my comfort comes in my ability to kind of go out of the box. So if I know that I just have to smile and stick a thumb to my chest, and there's no challenge to actually, you know, reel anybody in. Again, if you want to see, you know, Reigning Anarchy 5 is probably one of my favorite. MAW's Reigning Anarchy 5 probably one of my favorite things. If you combine some of my work as on the mic, as a commentator, and then being able to transfer it over as to a character as the commissioner, and then making a heel turn at the end of the show, not to spoiler alert, but you know, being able to play everything in together, I felt like that was some of my best work. And what it required was me to sell that there was no way that was happening.
Now we've spoken, excuse me, we've spoken about your commentating. Who was your partner? Because it takes more than one guy, and I know you've always had a partner.
My partner, I mean, and I can't believe I haven't mentioned him yet, because my partner's one of the best. I mean, he's really the only guy I really work with. He's one of the best people they could have paired me with. It was almost like it was almost as if there was a vetting process, and there was not. We just happened to get along that well, and his name was Scotty Boxes. Scott Merle's on Facebook. But he's great. He had a real good Barker kind of feel, really good Carney vibe when he would announce. He didn't try to be too pristine. He had a great voice. But we had this ability, man, that to play off each other. Like I said, feel free. I sometimes find some of the calls entertaining that we've done, just listening to the interaction. But we would a lot of times, again, there's nothing set up, but a tone, a theme, a vibe would start at the beginning of the show. And the ability of him to play off me and us to really work each other, and him to set me up and vice versa. Because it was a weird combo. I was definitely meant to be the color guy, but I was the technical wrestling guy. So I did a lot more of the narrative. And so he had to pick his shots, and he was perfect every time. Perfect every time. He was more professional voice, where I was probably the more broadcastery type as far as when it comes to sports. Almost had a Cole Taz kind of thing.
It's that chemistry thing, though, because you need that yin and yang. You can't have two yings and you can't have two yangs. Absolutely. You've got to have that blend, you know?
Absolutely. He always played the straight, face announcer, and I always had just I was a face, but I always had that edge of a wrestler, where if a guy might have raked an eye, I'm gonna say, hey, sometimes you got to rake an eye. That was always kind of the hook to my gimmick is when pressed, Polo Power might do something just that much dirty, if he had to. So that it really, it was. I think, and I don't know, maybe the Chop Shop universe will tell me otherwise, but I think it was a pretty popular broadcast scene.
Now, being in the broadcast area and doing these events, you come to find some memories that stick out. May it be a match, or may it be a promo, may it be something like that. And I know you've been involved in many of the events over there at the Chop Shop, but post your wrestling career and you doing this other part, do you have any memories that really stick out? May it be a match or so that I've kind of mentioned that really sticks out?
I've got a couple things, I guess, for different reasons too. But actually, there was a match, and it wasn't a high hyped, built up match, but I'm not even sure the event. I want to say it was Vengeance. It was an MAW event, Osiris versus Judge Logan Chambers. And what it was an incredibly emotional story of a match. It was a physical story, and it was the emotion that there wasn't a whole lot of there wasn't a rivalry, there wasn't a whole lot of build up for the match, but the emotion and the physicality of the match was what really transferred over. And the story of the match was so particular, and it was so easy to call that it's one of the calls I'm most proud of. It's also a call that I had nothing to do with. It was natural. It was Osiris and his selling and Judge Logan Chambers and his character and their execution told me the story that I was able to relate because it was so perfect and accurate to what they wanted to say was everything I saw. There was even a point, I think there was a point in this match where he had you can sometimes hear me from my station. This is something I remember very. He had he was applying, Osiris was applying a triangle choke. And I started looking at it as an MMA tactic. And I said to myself, I said out loud on the mic that he needs to get, if he gets that foot behind the knee, it's in. And he literally, as I said that, pulled the foot in, and he's like, I heard you. And it gave him that inclination, like, I'm going to finish this hold. And that's exactly, because you're in there sometimes, and you're in between combat and combat art. So when I said that, he said, yeah, I bet you I can do that without choking the guy out for real right now, So that was a moment I remember because it was as if Osiris and I were communicating. And I was 30 feet away. So that was great. And actually, this is probably for a real selfish reason. Well, I guess me and Tony, I think everyone involved is proud of this. There's a match that was in a movie that was featured in the Dan Groom film, Alternate Ground, which I also played a part in, but I had no idea that this was going to happen. When I went to see the premiere, there's a match of Tony Clash and Jamie Tucker versus the Young Rivera brothers. And some of that match, parts of that match were, put into a scene in the movie, and some of the commentary Dan was able to use and kind of almost make it relevant to the movie. And so that was brilliant. But to kind of see that, like, wow, almost, if you've ever seen, ever heard a side thing on the TV, or, where someone's watching a TV show in a movie, and you always wonder, hey, I wonder what that is. Is that real? Is that from the TV? Well, in this situation, they literally made it look like the guy was watching the wrestling match on TV, and it was actually a Tony Clash match, and I was doing the commentary, and it was, I felt like it was a great piece, but it was also just really cool to see your shit in the movie.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. That's very cool.
Yeah, and that movie, amazing, winning all the film festivals, been doing it all year, because obviously all the film festivals are virtual. Man, Dan Groom would have racked up some flyer miles going to these things if he had to, because I think 20 awards at least that I can think of, yeah.
So, repeat the name of the movie first off.
Alternate Ground.
Where can we find this?
Entertainment is the film company, Para Act, and Dan Groom's the director. Amazing.
Is there streaming services we can find this on, or where do we find it?
I don't think it's available yet, largely because of the long festival season. It will be, and you will. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I'm pretty sure everything ends up on Prime. So he has a Para Act, has a channel on Prime, and so if you want to prime yourself for this, there's a Tony Clash film on there, Born in Darkness short films, and a lot of the stuff he did was short films. Alternate Ground is a feature-length film, great film.
Okay.
But just people should peep Para Act Entertainment, and it is Born in Darkness is Tony Clash, really showing his range, man. So yeah, and that might have been his first performance. So I mean,
wow.
There's a lot of talent, and it's a lot of talent that we know. Guys from the Chop Shop, a lot of guys that work with Dan that we know.
Okay.
And he's actually the guy that did the sound for the commentary. That's how we ran into each other. Like I said, that community, it just brings us back to what we were talking about before, right? That community is so important to the people, the entertainers in this area in general, people in entertainment. The Chop Shop was huge, and it will be again, I hope.
Yeah, I'm with you, my friend. Excuse me. On the show, we like to talk support system because around you, I say this personally, I don't know, but I just see from a fan's vantage point, I feel that trying to become a wrestler, especially as a singles wrestler, is probably one of the hardest things in the universe to accomplish. It's so hard. There's so many pieces of the puzzle that you have to really put together to make it really shine and make it all work to get to that higher plateau and all of that stuff. But behind all of that, your physical prowess, keeping your head straight, the gimmick and all that it takes, behind all of that, there's usually a support system. May it be parents, siblings, a spouse, your children or something. Have you always had a support system behind you through your wrestling venture, and who was it?
Well, I think like in a lot of people's lives, that kind of thing changes as you grow and change. And said my journey is over a 20-year journey, right? So there's a lot of people. It's funny. My first wife is actually the person who sent me on that journey in the first place because she wanted me to stop mixed martial arts because one of my friends got this is a real story. My friend's got his head damn near caved in by Tim Sylvia. In the very early days before he was pro, before Tim Sylvia was pro, just at a shoot fighting competition down in Pawtucket, my buddy got his head, smashed really good, and we took care of him for a couple weeks at the house. And my wife's like, you can't do that anymore. And I'm like, well, I gotta get my fight on. And that's when wrestling's happened. And she was really supportive, but that's for other reasons that marriage didn't continue. But she was really supportive through there. But mostly, my family, my parents, they've always just seen me as a performer. I did stage stuff when I was 15, 16. So if I say I have a show, my family never cared if it was a wrestling show, a strip show. If I was performing, my parents would want to see me. You're real comfortable. Mom shows up at your striptease, but so that, I always had that. But honestly, when it came to making decisions on, whatever you can call a career, or training or what to do, it was usually myself. I also had there was a period of time after my first marriage where, my friends were my whole community, and they're always supportive. But the reality is sometimes you have to support yourself, and you have to take a leap that someone can't necessarily have your back from if you fall. So that happens too. My second wife, who I'm still taking care of, she's still alive on me. She's great. She actually met me during a weird time in wrestling where me and JP Hansen were trying to come together with something different down at the old chop shop. And so she kind of met me as a wrestler. But again, I'd never been one, and I make this very clear because I respect these guys so much, and I never want to take their shine. I was not one of these every weekend warrior guys that went out there and did 3-4 matches and busted their ass like Dick Lane, like Izzy Star, like Tony Clash, like Osiris, like Dirt Dan, all those guys. They did something, and I'm being honest as I can. They did something I never had the balls to do. Is they went out every single week, and they went out for years and years, and they, you know what I mean? I propagated a gift. I have the gift of gab. I'm good on the mic. It got me places faster than I should have been. And that's the truth, man. A lot of these guys earned it a lot more than I did. I saw a highlight pic of a guy I've maybe met once or twice, but it got in my head, Wrecking Ball, what he did. I know other guys who went to that school. Damien Darko's an old friend of mine. And you see a guy like Wrecking Ball and what he's done in a few years, and how the only thing that separates him from, guys is it's not just, he has physical gifts, right? But the reality is he breaks his freaking ass. He breaks his ass. He goes out and he works hard all the time. And he's out there and you see him and he's, I hope he feels like he's gotten his just desserts, because I saw them on TV, and that's awesome. You know what I mean? So I've
been following Wrecking Ball for probably 3 or 4 years now. Seeing him transform over this past year, his physical transformation, then he's changed his gear.
He got real hard.
Yeah, he changed his gear. He threw in a couple little different twists in his moveset, if you will. He's hitting different promotions. Always, like you said, he's always working on his craft. And that's something about Wrecking Ball that I've always respected and appreciated as a fan. It's been awesome seeing him transform, because this past year for him has just been fantastic.
Oh, yeah. It really has. And thought of the right guy, right?
Yeah.
When I saw the highlight film, I said, oh, this guy, look at him.
And such during a crazy time, too. He was still able to continue to get work, because it was like Titan Championship Wrestling was running monthly out of New Jersey on an outdoor setting. He was on all of their shows. A couple of the promotions, I forget which ones off the top of my head.
On the proving ground a lot, right? He was on the
proving
ground.
Yeah, he was still working through that whole, like when we started the COVID thing and things started picking up a little bit. So he's been working right through, keeping himself active.
Yeah, he forced his way. You know, you have to force your way into people's hearts and minds. Mm-hmm. Not everyone can do it with a wink and a couple words. Like I said, I fully understand. Who I am. I don't ever want to take anyone else's credit. All the guys you're going to talk to have done more for wrestling, around here than I have, and I really do appreciate you giving me this time.
Absolutely.
I know I have a lot of I do have a lot of friends and fans that probably are happy to see me, but there's some real talent you have on your show too. Yeah, you think you're real talent, Grayson. You're not real talent. Oh my God.
It's just been amazing to be able to talk to the amazing, talented men and women that I get to see in the ring, but then I get to talk to them and get to chit chat with them and pick their brain a little bit and have fun with and mess around with, swear a little bit or drink. I drank moonshine with Ref Bill, Christina Marie, SOG. I mean, come on. I mean, we just have some fun, man.
Yeah, I love SOG, man. That guy's real. Whatever you think you see him in the ring, that's SOG. That's the dude. That is the dude.
Yeah, I've kind of come to find that out the hard way, my friend. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But that's the thing we speak about characters, though. Seeing somebody like SOG in the ring, and then you think he's going to turn this switch off and be like, "Hey, brother, no, you don't expect that from one SOG. Let me tell you."
No, you slide up to SOG without a plan, and he's going to look at you and go, "What?" Hey, that's my PSA announcement. Fans, don't slide up on SOG without a plan.
Yeah, and can I tell you a quick story, my friend?
Absolutely.
Well, over the course of seeing Mr. SOG work a show here and there, I did see him sparingly because I didn't travel very much at the beginning. I was going kind of as close as I could, okay? So as I would see Mr. SOG perform at these shows, I started grasping on his character, or his persona, if you will. So I see him one time at XWA. I give him some shit. It's pre-show, and I believe it was for a Nova show, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And I see him. He's poking around looking for something maybe. I don't know what it was. And it was myself and my father. And I see him, and I go, and it's just me and my dad and probably 6 people. And I mean, there was probably like an easy hour before the show. So this place really wasn't popping yet. At least an hour, if I'm not mistaken, because I always go wicked early. And I yell out, "Oh my God, it's this guy." From that day on, myself and Mr. SOG have had quite the relationship. It's been very rocky, a roller coaster, if you will. Yes.
I think it's everybody's relationship with
him. There's been a time where he's threatened me and told me he was going to beat the shirt off of me and resell it and make a little bit of change. There was a time, Survival Championship Wrestling, he actually gave me a snot rocket on his entrance because I was I was booing so loud in his face. May I have deserved it? Maybe. Should have I? I don't think that was really totally necessary. Yes. Maybe something else. But I did get a snot rocket from one Mr. SOG.
Well, everyone has a favorite SOG quote, right? Mine was, "You little hobbit." I think it started with, "You little hobbit. I'm going to beat you until you smell like onion."
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
One of my favorite SOG moments, yes.
I
was always Hobbit.
That guy is something else. He brings some stuff to the table, man. I tell you, he's a fun guy. Uh, now, the Dominick Paretti, the Dom Paretti, if you will, where did that come from, the last name? Because I know your true name is Dominic, obviously.
Yep.
But then you bring Commissioner Dom Paretti. Where does that come from?
Well, again, a lot of it's got to do with my theater background. I felt like I wanted the four beats. So I wanted a Dom seemed to make sense. It was after the old, hey, let's be you and bring it up a notch and see what we can do. And so it was simply just my marketing brain thinking that a hard T was an easier thing for people to remember. So Dominick Paretti became Dom Paretti. I just felt it had a better rhythm. It wasn't really anything too much behind it. But if you want to know where I got the sound, as it were, from, I think being a Rhode Island person, there was a Paretti Tires.
Okay.
There was always a Paretti Tires. So that's where I'd heard the name before. But the idea was, and I knew it sounded legit. It was Italian. I'm Italian. It's an Italian name. Obviously my name is Italian. But it was a harder sound, and that's just from my theater background, musical background, that's easier for people to remember and say. Perillo is hard to say if you're on a microphone. It turns into the Y, the L turns into a Y. It becomes hard to say. And then some people think it's Spanish and they'll say Perillo, and so anytime you can avoid that, in a wrestling name, I believe that if you can avoid a mispronunciation in a wrestling name, you should. And my name's easily mispronounceable. So
hey, that's fantastic advice, sir. Because I would have never thought of that your name being pronounced so many different ways, especially the Spanish version really got me.
Yeah, but it's true. My dad drove to drag race a little bit, and they'd always call him Joe. His name was John Perillo, and you'd always hear him announce Joe Perillo. And they'd expect like maybe a Spanish or Portuguese guy or something. It's a little Italian guy.
Oh my goodness! Wait! Did you just said Pops was a drag car racer?
Hobby? Yeah, hobby. He was actually a mechanic, like par excellence. He actually was a IndyCar crew chief. He was crew chief for Robbie and Johnny Unser, actually.
Wow, very cool.
Young ones, and years ago, and he rebuilt a 1969 Mustang ragtop 302 and turned it into a drag car, and would go out to Epping on the weekends in New Hampshire there. And he would run like the amateur drags, had a ton of fun. But he made that I think he got that car to be an 11-second car. So
wow.
Yeah, right now his baby retirement car is a 68. He's painted that metallic deep green. It's gorgeous. He takes the car shows, but it's straight stock. He rebuilt it from a frame. I think he's one of the only people. I'm spouting my dad now, but I think my dad's really cool. And he's one of the only people ever, I think, to rebuild a 1969 Di Tommaso Mangusta. If you don't know what that is, everybody look it up. It's an awesome car. The thing's 36 inches off the ground. It was completely steel, and I think it had like a 350 engine.
I have no idea what that is. I'm gonna have to look it up myself.
Yeah. The Mangusta, that car. It was made by the same guy who made the Pantera, who I think influenced the Lamborghini.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That.
I guess now everyone knows I'm a little bit of a motorhead, but not really. But it's because of my dad.
That's some cool shit. Thank you for sharing that stuff. That's amazing. That's what I love about this, my friend. We just kind of hang out, and we get to know, because I didn't know anything about Dom Paretti. All I knew was what I saw in the ring, and those were some fun times. So getting you to come in on such short notice is very cool, man.
Well, hey, thanks for having me, man. I don't know how much more time you need me, but my wife is choking in the other room. I gotta wrap it up really quickly here.
Oh, hey, if we got to do it lickety split, hey, man, we don't want the wife choking. We need her to be safe and healthy.
I'm on break now, but yeah.
Hey, that's okay.
My dog's taking over.
Maybe we could do a follow-up later in the future, because I still got plenty to ask you.
I'll talk to you anytime, brother. I'll talk to you anytime. I really, honestly, when wrestling starts coming back, you got to talk to me. We got to talk. I mean, even off air, we got to talk about getting some people together for sure.
Oh man, Wow. That'd be amazing. Please, let's do something.
Absolutely.
This has been so fantastic on such short notice. I know he's Mr. I'm going to call you Paretti. I just like doing that. Mr. Paretti.
See, it sounds better, right?
Mr. Paretti has started us off on a 5-interview extravaganza. I'm stirring the pot today. It's going to be a very busy day. Thank you so much.
I'll have it on while I tend to my wife.
This has been Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, one Dom Paretti. Thank you so much, my friend.
Take care. Thanks for having me.